1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
What's going on, people? What's going on? This is Wake Up 502 After Dark. This is your boy, Raashaan Myers, the acclaimed host of Wake Up 502, coming to you every Saturday morning, 9 to 11 a.m., 96.1 FM, 1450 a.m., Big X Sports Radio. So excited to be joined, as always, by the man wearing the Manual Crimson's t-shirt, Mr. H to the Izzo himself, the architect, Haven Harrington. Haven, how are you doing tonight, brother?
Man, what's going on, Rocky? I'm doing great, man. I'm having a great day. Can't wait to chop it up about a little Cardinal football. Maybe talk about some college football playoffs conspiracy theory and ACC Big 12 hate. All sorts of shenanigans going on.
I like it. I like it. Absolutely. And I was going to say, I would say I am excited to be joining the people and talking, but I don't know if I'm necessarily excited to talk about what we got to talk about in terms of Louisville football. Like, it's like maybe I need to rephrase that or,
I mean,
it,
it is what it is. This is something we talked about this for weeks on end. We said the losses were going to come. We knew they were coming. We just didn't know when, where, how, but we knew they were coming. You
yeah.
know the way this team is mistake prone. They can't get out on ways. They constantly shoot themselves in the foot with penalties and turnovers. They can't trust Miller Moss. So you knew all that was going to come together for a loss, and it just had to be two losses in a row.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's tough. It's a tough situation to be in, Haven Harrington. Louisville football had an opportunity for something special. You look back 2 weeks ago, first college football playoff ranking came out. University of Louisville was sitting at 15 and ready to make an assault on the college football playoff and really put themselves into a driver's seat to be able to not only make the playoff but make it even as an at large. I think that they were in a good position to make that happen. And you have what's happened over the last couple of weeks, the tough overtime loss to California, and then the loss that we're about to talk about, the 2019 defeat to Clemson. And it's one of those things where I hate that the tone that we set in the discussions that we had like came to fruition, but
It was too
you know
obvious.
yeah.
I mean, it was just too obvious. You could just see it coming a mile away. But this team, where they're 7-3, they're 10 games into the season, and they still haven't played a complete game yet. They
Yeah.
barely played a complete half of football where the offense, defense, and special teams are all clicking. They barely played like a complete half of football this entire season. But this has been them literally since game one. Like
Yeah.
literally since game one. They've been exactly the same team. And in fact, honestly, I'm like, if we really honestly look at it, the fact that they're 7-3 is almost amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's I don't know if it's necessarily amazing, just for the simple fact that I feel like this Louisville team is good enough for the stage that they were threatening to be on. Like, I feel like this
Oh,
team.
the talent on this team,
Yeah.
they should be undefeated.
Yeah.
There is no doubt in my mind, if you just look at the roster, the talent on this team, they should be an undefeated football team. But
Yeah.
to be an undefeated football team like Indiana, Indiana was down to a bad Penn State, but they
Mhm.
was able to get it together. The quarterback was able to make timely throws. The wide receivers made big super big catches in the clutch to beat Penn State with seconds to go in the game. You know, we just don't have we have those type of playmakers
Yes.
individually on the
Yeah.
roster, but we don't have the trigger man. We don't have the quarterback that that could do that. What hurts most of all,
And
and
honestly,
and and
hey,
number two, we're not disciplined enough to do it. We're
yeah,
just not disciplined enough.
I was gonna say, like, it feels to me like I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I feel like Louisville had what they needed to be able to win with with the guys that they had, but the problem is they did not have enough talent to be able to withstand mistakes. Like I think that's literally the issue is that
They even had talent to withstand the mistakes. Clemson tried to give us the game like twice within 2 minutes.
yeah,
They
yeah,
literally tried to hand us the game. They muffed up, they fumbled the kicker, fumbled a punt, gave us the ball like on the 25-yard line, should be an easy chip shot field goal to win the game with a minute 30 left. All we had to do was run out the clock and
yeah.
kick a last second field goal. And we couldn't
But
even do that
but
because
because of the mistakes, because of
of
penalties,
mistakes, back to back
silly.
penalties, and it was a 50-yard field goal, and we missed it.
It's crazy. Like this team is good enough, and that's the thing that I go back and I look at this team. This team is good enough to be undefeated against the schedule that they've played, and they have the talent to be good enough. But the problem is they don't have enough talent because of the limitations of the quarterback position to be able to withstand those mistakes. Like that's the thing where if you have the right guy at quarterback, you score enough points to where guess what? A dumb personal foul penalty or a fumble that gets returned for a touchdown or whatever, those things, while they suck and it may make a score closer than it should be, you're good enough to get it done because you're going to score in the 40s. Does that make sense? Like
Yeah,
you can
it
have
makes
those
perfect
mistakes if
sense.
you're a team, if you can get into the 40s and 50s, but when you're a team that has to live in the 20, like we always hear that conversation of the 24, so many consecutive games of 24 points scored. Well, this Louisville team was literally getting right to the 24 to 28 point barrier. Like they didn't really live outside of that. And when you're right there, it makes it, it puts a premium on playing clean, mistake-free football. And unfortunately, this
That's not
Louisville
us.
team has just not done it. If you're going to be a defensive football team, Haven, we've seen it. I mean, this Louisville team is your classic defensive football team, and that's not necessarily what we expected or what we thought how we thought this thing was going to go. But when you're a defensive football team that's going to have a team that has a defense that's good enough to hold a team in the teens or the low
Low
20s,
20s.
you have to play mistake-free football because big mistakes crush teams that play like that. If you have to play in that 24 to 21 window, and that's how you win games, you can't play making mistakes. And this Louisville team has been mistake prone all year, and they've been flirting with disaster. And unfortunately, um,
It's been
we've
them
seen it
twice.
play out. Yeah, three
All their
times, honestly,
losses,
all
literally
three
all
times.
their losses this season is because they've made catastrophic mistakes that they cannot come back from. The Virginia loss was because two costly turnovers, a fumble by Isaac Brown that gets ran back for a touchdown, a pick six that gets ran back for a touchdown. You give Virginia 14 points, you just can't overcome giving them 14 points, right? The
Yeah,
Cal loss, same thing. Just couldn't get out of one way. Turnovers. It's like it's on repeat, right? uh, Clemson. We lost to Clemson. Why? Come out to half. We have the ball. We just start driving. If we score, it's a two-score game. No way Clemson's coming back. What do? We fumble the ball. Next play, Clemson scores. Completely different ball game. They got momentum. They got energy. And now we're trying to play from behind. And then we start doing all these stupid penalties, holding penalties, unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, and we don't have a dynamic enough offense
hmm
to overcome a 10 or 15-yard penalty in a drive. You get a 10 or 15-yard penalty. If Louisville gets a 10 or 15-yard penalty, the drive's over.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Literally, the
Literally.
drive's over. You're just playing a punt.
Louisville has basically become a team, and like I said, it really feels like Miller Moss is. And we talked about this on Saturday. It feels like Miller Moss is worse now than he was earlier in the year. Now, Louisville still used to have a semblance of some, explosives here and there, but because teams have understood how to scout him, now
It's over.
he can't do anything.
I mean,
But you know what's funny though? Like I don't really feel like Miller Moss had a bad game on Saturday. I mean, you look at his numbers: 19 of 27, 212 yards, no touchdowns, no interceptions, 136.3 quarterback rating. Like he was solid, but the problem is because Jeff Brom understands the limitations of his quarterback. Like it feels like Louisville's offense is playing with one hand tied behind his back the
and
whole
that's
game.
this. Like you're playing to his to what he can't do. Right, you're playing his limitations.
Yeah,
And like if you look at his yards per completion, he's averaging 5 yards per completion.
that's
Where
crazy.
Plummer, Plummer before him
He
and
was
Shuck were
12, right?
averaging 8 yards
Yeah, okay. Per
of,
per completion or per attempt? Per
uh,
attempt.
per attempt.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, excuse me, per attempt. But it was averaging like 8 yards per attempt. He's down to five
Yeah.
because anything else, and teams know like even if you can't get pressure on them, if you take away those quick crossing routes, you take away the quick slants, and then try to pack the box against the run game, you got us. And we're still running the ball. Like, even with them packing the box, we're still
Every
running the ball.
yes. The
But
running game
Jeff,
has ended up being what we expected it to be coming into the season, has turned
yeah,
into that. I mean,
and
Keywan Brown the
Jeff,
last 2 weeks has been outstanding
he's
in
been a
place of
beast.
Isaac Brown.
But
Yeah.
Jeff is bound and determined to throw the ball. For whatever reason, he's bound and determined to take that round peg and put it in that square hole. He's just determined. He's getting mallets, he's getting hacksaws, he's getting screwdrivers, he's doing everything he can to get that round peg into that square hole. And it's just you can't do it. You just can't do it. Like, it's another game where we have more rushing, more passing attempts than running attempts. This team can't win. We can't win that way. And we're really
Yeah.
like Kewan Brown is averaging 9 yards a carry, right?
Yes.
Isaac Brown, missing him is super detrimental to his offense, even with Kewan averaging 9 yards a carry. What we're missing is that explosiveness that Isaac Brown had. And
Yeah,
that was the
Keywan Brown.
difference.
Yeah, that
And that's
right
the
there because
difference in the
Keywan had the
offense.
big runs, but the big runs that Keywan had, he gets tackled after 30 yards. Where if Isaac gets that same run,
It's a touch at
he
60
he
yards
gets
and
a
he's gone.
touchdown instead of
Yeah.
Louisville having to settle for a field goal because they get down there and the Clemson defense stiffens up.
And that's the difference. Like
Yeah,
Isaac's big play ability was our offense's only big plays. Like if you look at the past couple, if you look at this entire season, all of our plays over 50 yards or more is literally coming from Colin Lacey kick returning the ball, or it's Isaac Brown breaking a big run.
or Chris
No
Bell.
pass plays
You
over
know,
50
Chris
yards.
Chris Bell had those couple of big plays against Miami where he was able to make take a 5 or 10 yard pass and turn it into a long touchdown play. But yeah, it's been
But that's it.
nothing. Yeah,
Outside of that, our most consistent big plays have been Isaac Brown the run game.
yeah, yeah,
And now that he's hurt, we still have an awesome run game. Averaging 9 yards a carry, 14 to keep on Brown, 9 yards a carry, 14 rushes, over 130 something yards. He's balling at the running back spot. But this team needs that big play and not that steady grind because we just don't have the discipline and the focus to grind it out steadily, consistently. And that's this team's biggest issue.
yeah. This
You
Clemson
know,
game, this Clemson game last Friday reminded me a lot of the Stanford game last year, to where Louisville was doing enough to be able to kind of keep pace and to keep a little bit of a lead, but they could never put Clemson away. and you just had all of these dumb, unsportsmanlike penalties and dumb penalties of frustration, and it just continued to bite us. Last year it was Tayon Holloway doing something dumb that ended up putting Stanford into field goal range and
to win the
Stanford
game.
hitting the kick to win the game. And this one, Louisville has the ball in a position to score, and the offensive lineman freaking gets a personal foul penalty for pushing a Clemson defender. Like, it's just this Louisville team and Haven. I don't even know, because my thing is this. I'm like, okay, how do you guard against what they're doing? But Louisville this year, more than probably any I've ever seen, they have had their fumbles, they have had their interceptions, and they have had their dumb penalties in the least opportune. Like, it always happened at a big moment. You know what I mean? Like this year,
Yeah,
especially, in the Miami game, even though Louisville won the game, the fact that Louisville had a chance to put Miami away, and then Isaac Brown goes out there and fumbles.
and they
This
and they scored the very next play,
they
and
score the
next
very
thing you
next
know,
play
it's a
against
game.
Clemson. It's 9-3. Louisville's driving to go up more than two scores going into halftime, getting the ball back after halftime, and you have Duke Watson just get the ball ripped out of his hand, and then Clemson goes back and scores the play right after that. You have a Virginia team that you are you're playing well. Virginia's offense can't get on track, and now you fumble a pitch and they run it back for a touchdown and steal all the momentum. Like against Pittsburgh on the road, you can't figure things out and give a Pittsburgh team that not necessarily been playing well, you give them all the momentum by having, just one of the most head scratchingest interceptions where you just throw it up at the big, most like this Louisville team has had a special ability to hurt themselves in the worst ways possible. And I just don't know how
And they're
you
good at it because they do it
quantify.
every game.
Yes, yes.
They do it every
They're like,
game.
okay, wait until the best worst time to do it, and let's do it right then. You know,
And then the scratch and let's get back in the game. Like
it's
Pittsburgh, we was able to scratch and claw and dominate and get back in the game and win. And that's how you know how good this team can be because it stretches, they just dominate really good teams. Pittsburgh is a really good team. Virginia is a really good team. Statistically, we dominated Virginia. Dominated Virginia. But we still lost in overtime. We took the game to overtime, even though we spotted them 14 points.
Haven, the media members and people that came to cover all three of those games for Virginia, California, and Clemson all left that game feeling as if they stole money because they knew good and damn well they shouldn't have won that game. All three of them. Like,
Of
I've
course.
I've had games during a season where that's happened once, where something weird and fluky happens, and the other team is just so shocked and surprised that they're just giddy walking out because they knew that they shouldn't have won, but they did it. That's happened all three times this year. Like, literally happened three
You
times.
know,
I've
and
never seen it happen more than once in the season.
so going forward, there's two games left in the season. This
Hmm.
weekend we play SMU, and then the week after that we play Kentucky. I said this on Twitter, and I'm gonna say it here. Right after we lost, I said this on Twitter, and I'm
Hmm.
gonna say this here. Only thing left for Louisville this season is not the bowl games. Nobody cares about bowl games anymore. If you don't make the playoffs, you don't make the conference championship game, then you're just wasting your time.
Yes.
Only thing left on this schedule now is to beat UK. That's it. That's all you have to look forward to is
Well, I
beating
mean,
UK.
let me ask you this: does salvaging a 9-3 regular season, does that still? I mean, 9-3 is still a high
It's
watermark for a Louisville season.
you know what? It used to be a high water mark for Louisville season. It's like
Okay.
we need, and I think a lot of Louisville fans have done this. We've adjusted our expectations now. Now it's ACC championship. Like we need to be in a hunt every year, coming down to the last game for an ACC championship bid.
Yeah.
Every year, there's no excuse why we should not be. And maybe I'm just thinking too highly of Louisville, or maybe I'm not thinking highly enough to ACC. But either way, we should be in the hunt for the ACC championship game every year, and it should come down to like the last week or 2 weeks of the season. like
Yeah.
every year. This year we was in the hunt until we lost to Cal. It all went away, and then losing to Clemson destroyed any playoff or anything else hopes we may have had. So yeah, we may end the season 9-3. We may beat SMU and UK, but for many U of L fans, and I can't argue with them, the season still seems like a bust
Yeah.
because of the way you lost those 3 games. It'd be different if we just lost straight up to Virginia. If we didn't
Hmm.
turn the ball over 2 times, give them two, and then give them 2 scores, and their offense could move the ball, and we struggled, and they just beat us. All right, you know what? Cool. It'd be different if it was a straight up beat down by Clemson, and Clemson just beat us like just beat us like a drum. It didn't
Yeah.
happen. We beat ourselves. All 3 of these games, we beat ourselves, and that's why every Louisville fan's gonna look at this as a wasted season.
Yeah. And it's funny because coming into the year, the expectations preseason for most of it, and I actually fussed about it, was the fact that everybody was pretty much saying 8-4, 9-3. But what happened is, and the problem that Jeff Brom is going to have is the fact that Louisville came out and played well enough to where everybody's expectations went up. Like to me, if these wins would have been and losses would have been kind of just gradually throughout the season, I think everybody would be okay because this is just about where they thought it was going to be. But because of how it happened, you get to 7-1 and you're in the driver's seat for the college football playoff and the ACC championship game. To get to that height, everybody you got, and a lot like how Louisville, at the worst times would turn the ball over. This season, Louisville waited to get everybody's expectations up here just to
God,
completely throw that shit in the trash.
it's just
You know what I
horrible.
mean?
And
It's
you lose and so I predicted Louisville to go 9-3, but it wasn't because of
yeah,
talent or anything else. I predicted to go 9-3 because I was like they're going to lose to the worst team on the schedule because
yeah,
that's what Jeff Brom does.
yeah,
He'll beat one of the best teams, but I thought Clemson was going to be better than what they were, so I predicted the loss to Clemson.
yeah,
I think I was like Clemson, Miami, and then throw in who's going to be like the worst team
yes,
of the ACC. That's who we lose to. I was right
yeah,
on one account. We lost to Clemson. Well, actually, I was right on 2 accounts. We lost to Clemson. We lost to the one of the worst teams ACC in California,
yeah. I
like
mean, it's just
clockwork,
it's
like
wild, man.
clockwork.
And I think that this is the thing. Like for me, Haven, and you can tell me how you feel on about it. Like I know this term is being thrown around for UK basketball right now. The honeymoon is over
Dude, UK's
for
basketball.
Jeff.
They're like 5 games in. They already trying to fire Pope.
Ready to throw that man out. I know we need to. We're gonna do we're gonna do a basketball pod.
Dude,
We're gonna do a
$22
basketball
million
pod too.
dollars to
It's
get blown out by
ridiculous.
Michigan State.
But like the honeymoon is over for Jeff Brom. Like this is the thing. I feel like what this season has done. This is year 3 for Jeff Brom, and now that it's effectively, um, like I said, because Louisville had a shot, I don't think this pressure would have been on Brom had Louisville just kind of sporadically had losses throughout the season. But the fact that he flushed an opportunity to go to the college football playoff and get to that back to the ACC championship game because he kind of floundered that away, it feels like that honeymoon time period is over now. Like
Well,
to me,
you know
that
what?
whole, how people always go with the whole "in Jeff I trust" and whatever Coach
Yeah.
Brom thinks, and we're just going to ride with it. I don't think that's going to be true moving forward after this year. I think that that's done now. I think
Well,
now the decisions that he makes and what he decides to do, every decision that Brom makes for getting this team ready for next year is going to be scrutinized and put under a microscope.
like the other problem he's having is one, he's a victim of his own success, right? First season, we didn't expect much. 10-2, ACC championship game, we get blown out by Florida State,
Yeah,
right? And then we get blown out by California, by USC in the bowl game. Actually, we ended the season on 3 straight losses.
and lost
Uh,
Kentucky.
yeah. We lost to Kentucky, then we lost to Florida State, and then we lost to USC.
USC, yes.
Yeah. Next season, everybody's excited. We're like, okay, the defense is going to be dope. Almost everybody's coming back. We got this new guy named Tyler Shuck. Chris Bell, his junior year, so he should be better. Colin Lacey, this new hyper awesome dude from who
Yeah, we
set
got an
everything on
Alabama wide
fire.
receiver, Ja'Cory Brooks, coming
Yeah,
in.
Ja'Cory Brooks from Alabama. Man, we got this. Offense was hitting. Defense was horrible.
Yeah,
And
but
well,
I
but
feel
once
like
again, but once
that year
again,
didn't.
right? We're right in the hunt. We're right there. You beat California in the season, and people are making arguments that even though we had what, two losses at that point,
Hmm.
even though we had two losses to two
No,
super ranked teams,
three losses,
three,
three
yeah, we had
losses.
three losses, but all the ranked teams all by less than a touchdown. People was making an argument that we should
Yeah.
still be in the playoff hunt regardless.
Hmm.
Regardless, like we should jump Miami, and they
Yeah.
beat us because of our schedule. And then we lose to California and we lost everything. This is
But see, but to
Jeff's
me,
second year in a row
but
of
that
pissing
to
away
me,
a
Haven.
season.
But
Yeah.
I don't think, in my personal opinion, I don't think anybody held year two over Brom because the defense was so bad. Like to
Well,
me,
no,
it felt like
well,
Jeff got
see,
a pass on that.
well, he kind of got a pass, but the problem is that once again we were in that conversation and should have been in the playoffs
Yeah,
by
but I
beating
mean, when your defense is so horrible, dude, like they don't look at Brom. The defense ain't Brom's baby. So like to
no,
me, it felt like
it's
all of
not
that
his
fell.
baby. You're right.
All
You're
of that
right.
fell on English last year. To
Yeah.
me, like they didn't really
If
blame Jeff for that.
no, but here's the thing though, right? It fell on English, but the problem was this season has now propped up a narrative that started last season, which is can Brom get over the hump and get us there?
Oh yeah, no, no, I totally agree with you. I'm like that's what I'm saying. Like
And
it
this
felt
season
like
is just adding
last
fuel to
year
that
was a
fire.
it felt like last year was more of a mulligan because it was like, okay, Jeff, um last year if you would have changed your, English turned into English ended up being the crappy uh the crappy hire that we all thought he was. So we're not going to put that on you, but you need to change defensive coordinators. Like to me, that was the whole talking point of year two. It was like you finally got the offense figured out. You had Tyler Shuck, but you need to figure out what's going on with the defense because you have everything else. And I mean, I tend to agree with that because the defense did give up the most points that Stanford scored by about two of the, think 17 points. They scored 17 points more against Louisville than they had any
Anybody
other
else?
Power Five team
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
year.
it
So,
was
like to
it
me, like
was
year two was like, okay, you just get the
unexcusable.
defense figured out, you're good. But the problem is this year, year three, is exactly like year one, where your offense, your side of the ball, what you're known for, has let down a team that was good enough to go to the playoff or good enough to win an ACC championship. So now because that's happened, two of the three, like let's be honest, Haven, the defensive side of the ball has been the better side of the ball since Jeff Brom got hired.
Yeah,
Like,
2 out of 3
yes, the
years.
defense was bad year two, but guess what? Years one and year three, defense was what carried this program.
Yeah.
So, now that's why I said like that's why I feel like the honeymoon's over is because Brom has seemed to have flubbed it up. Like you could excuse away year one because okay, Jeff's just now getting here. He makes the decision to go get Jack Plummer because he has familiarity. He wants to bring in somebody that knows the system. Like, you know what I mean? Like everything that
Yeah.
first year you can explain away. Jeff made the decision to go get Miller Moss, even though there's nobody that I remember at that time that thought that Miller Moss was the dude that Jeff should have went and got. Like there was nobody who was like, "Oh wow, this is a great pull." All they said was, "Okay, this is the dude Jeff wants. We're just going to give him the benefit of the doubt because look at what he did with Tyler Shuck." That was kind of the way it was.
Yeah.
That
I
was
mean,
the way
Tyler
it was
Shutt
built.
and Jack Plummer is still in the NFL.
Yeah, yeah. Like, and I feel like all of that kind of like, okay, whatever Jeff says is gone. Like moving forward, he's going to have to move differently. This offseason, Jeff Brom is going to have to look at himself and see what he's not doing correctly. Like the things that people are tired of. They're tired of looking at reclamation projects at the quarterback position. They are tired of that. They want a star. Either whether that star come from within the program and the quarterbacks that Louisville's recruited, or you go out in the transfer portal and you get one of the best two or three best quarterbacks in the transfer portal. They want to start quarterback. They are tired of all of the um, end of clock and end of half timing issues. They are well past tired. That's been bad all 3 years of
Yeah.
understanding when to use timeouts, understanding, how you manage the clock properly at the end of halves and end of game. People are tired of that, and people are tired of losing to teams that they should not lose, that Louisville should not lose to. Like those are the
It-
three, and because of those three things, everything that Jeff Brom does to get this Louisville program ready for the 26th season is going to be under scrutiny.
and it's going to be interesting, but I will say this: if we can find a way to play nothing but top 15 teams every week, we'll be undefeated because Jeff would get up for big games. Like if we can find a way to play like Miami, Alabama, Georgia, like all back to back to back to back to back to back to back, you're probably undefeated.
Yeah. And you know what's
Now,
crazy? Louisville still has one of the best records, in terms of teams in the college football playoff ranking in terms of wins. I think they're like 3-1, or they're either 3-1 or 2-1. I think they know that. I think they have 3 wins. They have 3 wins against teams in the CFP top 25, and there's only like 4 other teams in the top
yeah,
25 that
because
have
like
that.
the other 73 teams that are ranked above us, like Missouri, has 0 wins against top 25 teams. We have like
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, it's crazy. so, so I mean, Louisville definitely did the work they needed to get there, but I don't think that anybody is gonna like Jeff's honeymoon of just okay, we love the Browns and Jeff's awesome and we're so happy. Like we're still happy that he's the coach and we still think he's the right guy for the job, but now you need to it feels like Jeff has just been allowed to do whatever he wanted to do up to this point. Now, if he doesn't go out there and feel like he's putting his best, like it can be seen, and I understand it, Haven. It can be seen as if Jeff Brom has been playing games at the quarterback position, feeling like I'm good enough
Well,
to where I can just bring in anybody. You know what I
I
mean?
I think what Jeff's going to have to do is that he's going to have to now evolve as a head coach,
Yeah,
and one of those ways we have to evolve. So one of his, like to me, one of his best traits is also one of his worst traits, and that's his loyalty.
yeah,
And he's going to have to learn. Yes, you need to be loyal to your starting quarterback, your coaching staff, and things of that nature. But when the writing is obvious and it's on the wall, you got to pull that trigger. That's one of the things I admire most about Nick Saban.
yeah,
Nick Saban's in a championship game. Jalen Hurts gets you all the way to the championship game. He's struggling the first half. Saban has no problem, and the game's still close.
yeah,
No, the game was still close with Alabama and Georgia. But what happens? At halftime, he pulls Jalen Hurts, puts the true freshman in two, and is like, "Hey, let's go." He
yeah,
says, "It's not his day." Jalen, I love Jalen Hurts, but it's not his day. To it, let's go. Let's run it
yeah.
back. Alabama wins national championship.
Yeah, like the way Jeff's moving right now, he's moving like an 8-4, 9-3 coach. It's like
Yeah,
when are you gonna start moving like a championship coach? When are you gonna
yeah.
be able to learn what you need to do to take that next step? Because at some point you have to recognize that let's be honest, a lot of the problem, like you said, you're a victim of your own success. You're good enough to get there, but there are certain things about the way you handle things and the way you do things that aren't good enough. And that's gonna be the question. Is he going to make the changes that he needs to in himself and the way in some of the ways he's making decisions to take that next step? I mean,
And
that's the
that's what I
question.
have to see. We saw Bobby Trino when he was here the first go round. He had Mike Gilhammer as his defensive coordinator. We have a pretty good season. We play um, Miami of Ohio and Ben Roethlisberger in a bowl game. and Ben Roethlisberger just blows us up.
Yeah,
Gilhammer's gone at the end of the season.
yeah,
Then he brings in Mike Cassidy. Mike Cassidy comes in from Illinois. Defense is much better, but still not where it needs to be. We're still getting up too many points. What does he do? Kevin Wolfhauser now becomes your third down. He was the defense. Kevin Wolfhauser was a defensive line coach. He now becomes the, I think, third and fourth down defensive play calling against Mike Cassidy, first and second down. Next thing
yeah.
you know, we're balling.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you gotta,
I mean,
you have to be shrewd. Like, and I agree with you. Like that stubbornness to, to be loyal to a fault, and to just, it feels like a lot of times like this Miller Moss thing. We've seen this thing coming for a while, and rather, it feels like we've seen this dude has not pulled the trigger. He has not allowed another quarterback to play a snap outside of, okay, we're blowing somebody out. I'm gonna be cute and put 7 quarterbacks in 10 plays at the end of a game. You know what I mean? Like, outside of that type of situation, a quarterback besides the guy that he ordained as the starter has not played a meaningful rep since he's been the head coach.
except for Deuce, who came in Miami game
Well,
just to
but
run
that
the
was a
ball.
gadget play. Like, that was a gadget
Yeah.
play. He came in for a gadget. Yes, you'll put in him. You'll put in Conley year one to run the Conley package. Like, that's not getting reps as, I'm going to make a change to see if we can, if somebody else could get this offense started or get this team started. And considering that the quarterbacks have been bad 2 of the 3 years he's been there, the fact that Jeff has been that dedicated to his starter, that's just, you're not, once again, you're not moving like a coach that's trying to win a championship. You're not moving like a coach that's, like these people said, it's like you're willing to bench, Cooper Ranvier after a missed kick on a bad snap that, was down late, and he had to rush the kick to get it off, and he just barely missed it wide left, and you bench him, but you've been watching Miller Moss put this bullshit up week in and week out, and he just gets to stay out there. Like,
It makes no sense.
are you trying to win, or are you trying to be right? You know what I mean? Like, that's the question. It's like, I love Jeff, and I think he's a great coach, and I think he's the perfect coach for the University of Louisville. But at the same time, you can make mistakes and you can make the wrong call. But to just be so stubborn to believe that, I know that this guy's right. I will still say, in year one with Jack Plummer, the fact that Louisville never even attempted to try to get anybody else out there to see what they could do to help that team, or give guys a drive like they used to do with Brian Brown back when Petrino was here, to get that backup ready just in case you needed him. That's been the biggest fallacy of the Brown tenure so far, is the fact that he's not done anything to secure the most important position in his offense and in his football teams. As long as he's been a coach, Haven, has been decided and determined by how good that quarterback position is. And the fact
Well,
that he's been
and
this
what's weird,
stubborn is crazy.
is like he's been recruiting quarterbacks at a high level to come here,
Yeah, yeah.
but they never get a chance to play.
No.
It's like they're saying like Louisville. I think Louisville fans could take the 9-3 record, being close to being in the playoffs, being close to playing for AC championship, if you had maybe switched out and put Deuce Adams in, and you knew he was the first time starting, he was going to struggle for a little bit. He's going to throw some interceptions until he gets better, but it's going to take time. And if people
Yeah,
can see that progression, he's getting better game in, game out. We would have been okay with a 9-3 record with
yeah.
that.
Absolutely. I agree with you. I
But
mean, it's like, look at Bobby Petrino. Lamar's freshman year. They had what, 3 quarterbacks play that year. They had Lamar play some games. They had what's his
Was
name?
Will
Reggie
Stein?
Bonifant
No,
and Will Stein.
it wasn't Will Stein. It was what's that
Was
guy?
it
Began with a B. I want to say Bolton or
Bolin?
uh
Brock not Brock Bolin, Kyle Bolin?
yeah, little short
Was
guy,
it
Cal
Kyle
Bolin.
Bolin? Yeah.
Yeah.
But like Bobby was gonna get figure out because he recognized the talent of the Lamar, and the year before Lamar got there, Reggie Bonifant had been the guy, so he gave him some snaps. But he was gonna continue to rotate guys until he figured out what was gonna be best to get his offense working optimal. You know what I mean? But like Jeff, and I know Jeff is his own man. He's not Bobby Petrino, but it always felt like Bobby was moving in a means of I'm gonna at least figure out what's going to give my offense the best chance to be successful. And it doesn't feel like Jeff Brom has done that. It's like I just want to be right to say that this is the dude, and all we heard was, well, Jeff knows better. He sees these guys in practice, so none of these guys must be better than Plummer. None of these guys must be better than Moss. But it's like, but we know that we see the limitations of everything that Louisville can't even have. You can't even run the Jeff Brom offense with Miller Moss. So when you can't even run your offense, what's the point? You know what
I
I
mean,
mean? Like,
well,
what's the point?
honestly, it's
What are
like I
we
said.
doing?
Now the season's over. Technically, it's not over because still got 2 games left, but there's
Yeah,
nothing left to play for.
yeah.
If we're being honest, there's nothing left to play for because we know in the bowl game what's going to happen. Half the team that may be draft eligible, they're not going to play in a bowl game.
Mhm.
So you're going to be in a bowl game pretty much with backups.
I mean, like to me, I'm gonna be honest with you, Haven. I looked at Sagapolatele, the quarterback for California, true freshman. Took some lumps early in the year, but he came in. By the time he got to Louisville, he was way better than Miller Moss and lit our ass up like a Christmas tree. I think about if you give Deuce Adams the reps. If you give Deuce Adams two drives in the second quarter of every game since week 1, and let him get ready. Like, does at some point Deuce take over for Miller, and Louisville doesn't have these couple of games where if you have a quarterback that has confidence and a guy who has an arm and has some athleticism, is that the difference in, you know, 14 points? Teams have to, maybe teams have to scheme for a quarterback that can use his legs. So guess what? Now you don't have that safety over the top. That safety's in the box. So now Chris Bell doesn't have that safety coverage over the top, and you can throw the ball down the field and get it to him. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. Like
It
if
makes
you
it makes
take
a big
that,
difference.
it makes a huge difference. Like so,
And
it just I feel like my frustration with Coach Brom is the way that a lot of people are going to feel about how these things are going. It's just that
well,
you know,
now's the time to make that change. There's
yeah.
literally the only thing left to play for is UK game. Now's the time to make. If we're gonna make a change of quarterback, now's the time to do it. SMU's a good team. They're 7-3. They beat Kentucky. All their losses have been really close. They haven't really been blown out. SMU is a very, very good team.
They beat
And it's
Miami.
going to be nip and tuck. It's going to be a battle. But you know what? Win or lose, it doesn't matter.
I agree. I
It,
mean, and at this point, don't we need to see if Deuce Adams is going to be good enough to be the quarterback next year? You get 2 opportunities, possibly three if you count the bowl game. You get 3 opportunities to see this kid to see if he's going to be good enough to be your starter next year. I don't know why you wouldn't want to use that time to figure out what you have. And I
yeah.
know there's been have you seen anything on the? I know we talked about the possibility. There's been rumors.
You know what? I checked my emails to see if I got any injury reports from Rocco or anybody, and I haven't. I would check right now. Once again, my trusty
Yeah,
phone here.
because there have been what we're talking about is that there have been some rumors that there's a possibility that Miller Moss may end up on the injury report. Looks like from apparently what's the conversation is Louisville will be with well this is wonderful. Louisville's will be without running backs Isaac Brown and Keywan Brown, as well as linebacker Antonio Watts this Saturday versus SMU. So there we go.
Oh,
That's
well, that's the case. Then we lost.
yeah. that's that's not ideal. Let's just say that's not the ideal update that we were looking for. There was some conversation about the possibility of Miller Moss being on there, but I do not see that information. So
Well,
uh,
now if Keywan's not going to play, I don't see how we win the game because he is our all he has been our offense the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, I mean, he's been playing. I mean, this is a game where now it's up to Duke. Duke's now gonna be the guy. He's gonna have to step up. Let's see, listed is out: Isaac Brown, Antonio Watts, Keywan Brown, Travis Egan, Jamaris Wilder, Trent Carter, Shemai Gates. The guys who've been out pretty much all year. Um, Questionable. Miller Moss is listed as questionable on here. They didn't put that in there. So Moss is listed as questionable, and probable are TJ Quinn and Jacob Stewart. So Moss is questionable. So I mean, looks like Moss may not be playing anyway. So
Honestly, with so here's the thing: without your leading running backs, and we're being completely honest, so far, even though Duke has been back what almost 3 games now,
yeah,
Keywan's outplayed him every game like hands down. It's not even close.
yeah.
And without Keywan, literally you may have to play Deuce just because Deuce can actually run the ball.
I mean, yeah,
And
like the read option game. Could we see a Steve Slayton, Pat White be born with
yeah,
Duke Watson and
Deuce
Deuce
Adams, yeah.
Adams.
You may I mean you may have to because I mean losing Keywan is huge. That's that's big.
Yeah, yeah. So that's where we're at there. Well, Haven, before we talked a lot about the Clemson game. I don't think that needs necessarily a lot of analysis. We talked about basically what happened. I mean, Clemson is still a talented team, but even with that, Louisville proved to be the better team throughout the game. But those bonehead penalties, pulling your kicker at the end, Brown making the decision to go to Nick Keller instead of letting Cooper Ranvier kick the final kick, um, was an all-time kind of overthinking it moment. You're just overthinking it, man. Like I know you're nervous. Brom, that's the other thing about Coach Brom. He definitely does not seem to make good decisions under pressure. Like the high stress moments of games or high stress moments, it feels like he sometimes makes panic decisions. Do you ever notice that with some of the
If it, it feels that way, especially like so to me it's always been like Miami, he was ready. He had called perfect timeouts, great time management in the game, flawless time management in the Miami game. But it seems like big game Brom versus little game Brom. It's almost like he doesn't really respect like the bad teams on the schedule. So he's almost kind of going through the motions rather than like really focusing. And I think that's some of the issue. I think he just looking at teams like Cal and how bad Clemson has been. It's just like, you know what? We got this. I'm gonna save up everything for the UK game. We're good until we're not good. And then it's like, oh
yeah.
shit.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I mean, it just I don't know the better way to quantify it, but it seems like he gets into these moments, and it almost seems like he makes some decisions out of just being exasperated or overly emotional, or he just doesn't work well under those stressful times all the time. Like it feels like he makes some very rash decisions in those moments, and that's something else that he's going to have to work on and get better, because you have to be able to be decisive and be cool under pressure, and like a lot of these decisions, it just does not feel like that's happening. But I mean, that does add a level, with Miller Moss being listed as questionable, and now you're only two guys that have, I mean, heck, we might see Colin Lacey at running back. Real talk, like that might be the dude who's
I
at
mean, we
running
have a
back.
couple of games this season.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, like that might be the move, but it's definitely going to be interesting. But the other interesting thing, of course, is letting everybody know who are that boy's good player of the game or player of the week was for last week versus Clemson. Um, Very happy to have this guy out there, to have him get it. Absolutely outstanding. Let's go ahead and bring him up there. There he is. Congratulations, Stanquan Clark. His first game back, coming off of, what was it, a broken ankle? A broken.
He had a lower leg injury, but yeah, I think
They
it was
felt,
like
I believe it was a broke
I
some
think it was
sort
like
of a
yeah, I think it was a
fracture.
broken ankle.
An ankle fracture that put him on the shelf for 6 to 8 weeks. Stanquan, we kept hearing murmurs of him possibly coming back. He comes back, and in his very first game back, Haven Harrington tied for the team lead in tackles, gets 7 tackles, 3 of those being solo, 1.5 tackles for loss, which also led the team. Stanquan looked like he had not missed a beat. Dude was all over the place. He was excellent in coverage. He was getting into the backfield, making things uncomfortable for Cade Klubnik. To be able to come back and to play at that level against the team that, we can talk about Clemson and, necessarily them not having a great season, but they still have a lot of great players. They still have a lot of great athletes. So for Stanquan to be able to come back and play at that level, I mean, that's very impressive. Like, I don't know what
That's
you think.
awesome. I
You
mean, he
know,
hasn't played all year. He wasn't expected to come back. Honestly, like we were hearing, he was going to come back almost to the bowl game.
yeah,
So to come back against Clemson, a team that we can't stand, a team that we just want to beat so badly because we've only beat them once in our history last year, and for him to come back, for him to come back, have a great game, lead the team in tackles is amazing.
yeah, no. So congratulations, Stanquan. You definitely earned that boy's good player of the week honors. Brought to you by Wake Up 502. Super, super impressed with him. I give this team all the credit in the world, Haven, because this has not been a team that has done things for lack of effort. It feels like the fact that Duke Watson, fighting the high ankle sprain issues and coming back and just continuing to be a part of things, and continuing to fight to get back out there. As Roman Kelly is now joining us as well. Roman, how
What?
are you doing? Can you hear us? Okay. Yes, no, maybe I don't know. I don't know if you can hear us, Haven Harrington.
It looks like a hostage video. The moment, like
it
he's
does.
just
It
trying to
does. It
give us
looks
some
like.
demands.
Can you hear me?
Roman Kelly, how are you doing, man? Yes, we can
Yeah,
hear
we
you.
can hear
Can
you
you
just
hear us?
fine.
Oh, I'm not
Can
haven't
you hear
finished
us? Okay.
unpacking. Haven't finished unpacking here. I got boxes in the way. I'm doing great,
I
fellas.
can see got his Jordans over there in the corner.
Haven Harrington said it looks like that they're about to give the ransom demands or kill the Americans. Are you about to tell us your demands?
Yep.
It's like I take responsibility for the attacks.
I had to make sure I had it all set up right in here. It's
No,
not.
you're
Oh yeah.
good. You're good. So Roman Kelly, we just announced the that boy's good player of the week. We gave that to Stanquan Clark, coming back off the injury. Leading the team in tackles, leading the team in tackles for losses after his ankle fracture. To be able to come back and play at that level against the Clemson team that still has NFL prospects all over it. I mean, what did you just think of him and the effort he was able to put out there?
He played hard. I mean, he looked like he came in, and if you didn't had watched a game all year long, you would have not known that was his first game back, which is on
Yeah,
that kind of an injury is kind of crazy to me. I think that's just kind of the overall sense that I got from him in the game. Secondly, I felt like he did a great job in coverage, which, that's one thing I felt like even if you're good at it, not having played games can be you're out there kind of like, wait a minute, what is this? What is this? What am I seeing? It's your first time out there in a while. So he didn't seem like he missed a beat, if I'm being honest. There was a couple moments in some run plays where he clearly wasn't in full game shape yet, just later in the game, like he
yeah.
clearly hadn't played football in some weeks. You could tell end of plays, trying his hardest. He looked like he was huffing and puffing a bit. But outside of that, I think he played an amazing game for what the circumstances were, what the defense was being asked of out there.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, I love the fact that he's back. I mean, that Louisville defense did a great job of, keeping Clemson in check. I mean, honestly, once again, the defense basically just cut the water off of the opposition. Like it's one of those things where you take it for granted, but week in and week out, man, Ron English and this defense has come out and put their best foot forward. When you look at Clev Lubin and Wesley Bailey and Stanquan now and TJ Quinn, nothing about the way that this season has been written is going to shine negatively on that defense. In my personal opinion, y'all, I give the defense an A to an A plus for what they were able to do this year, regardless of how it ends. Like in my personal opinion.
Yeah, they've pretty much already earned that through this point in the season. Time and time again this season, we had to ask on them to give our offense a chance. Please,
Yeah.
again, give our offense another chance again. Give our offense another chance again. 3 or 4 times within the same game, within the same second half of close football play. It's a different level of defending when it's close game, intense ACC play. Every snap matters more than anything. All year long, they didn't waver in their consistency. The secondary had its moments, right? But
Hmm.
that's what comes going up against some of the quarterbacks and wide receivers that we went up against this season. And it's not anything that you never saw a consistent negative with the secondary. I felt like we
Yeah.
weren't consistently susceptible to those big plays. Within a couple of games, they had players that had their moments, but outside of that, I felt like every level of the defense did a great job.
Louisville hasn't given up anything big over the top that I can remember since Pittsburgh. Since Blue
And
Hicks
another
hit
thing,
Louisville down the field, they haven't really given up anything over the top.
and we've done everyone's talked about the special teams all year and how great they've done. Let's talk about the defensive side of the special teams all year long. Granted, we haven't seen the blocked field goals like we saw last year at the same rate, but in we have can you guys name one long kick return we've seen? One long punt return? I think
No.
Nope.
one player in one of those first 3 games we let up like a 30-yard return or something like that off of a
Right.
pretty good punt. I think I want to say it was the EKU game or maybe the Bowling Green game. I think actually it might have been some one player had a good return. I think in the Bowling Green game if I went back and looked, but
Yeah.
um, defense on every end has done their part this season, right?
Yeah.
And it sucks because last year was the opposite. Our defense wasn't giving that offense that same level of play, and this year our offense hasn't given the defense that same level of play in it. It's unfortunate.
Yeah. And let me ask you, and me and Haven were discussing this, like, and I want to get your opinion on it. It feels like to me, and for Jeff Brom, it feels like that honeymoon period with Jeff is over. And considering the fact that 2 of the 3 years it's been Brom's side of the ball that's kind of dropped the ball and kind of kept Louisville from hitting those ultimate goals of getting to and winning an ACC championship, and this year being able to get to the college football playoff. It felt like year 2, it was a bit of a mulligan. Everybody looked at that as more as Ron English's fault because the defense was so bad. So I don't really feel like people put that on Jeff's shoulders. But for this year to play out almost exactly like year 1, where it's the quarterback position that's holding you back, and once again you're refusing to make any changes at the quarterback position. To me, everybody's going to really scrutinize everything that Coach Brom does this offseason to get Louisville ready for the 26th season.
They've
You
already
know?
started scrutinizing things from this past offseason. It's already started. It's
Yeah.
already started. It was like, wait a minute, why wasn't this addressed? Wait a minute, you did this with your quarterback. Wait a minute, what was going on with the? I mean, you can never predict what you had happen in the running back room when you look at the year long aspect. The fact they consistently were banged up. We
Yeah.
didn't get a healthy Keywan, healthy Isaac, and healthy Duke for an entire game. It felt like all year long, which is that's we couldn't predict that. But
Hmm.
looking at the offensive line, you heard the things that we talked about in the beginning of the year. What did you guys do in the offensive line? What was the portal decisions in the offensive line? Were they the right ones, right? So I think everything is going to be now under a microscope going forward with each decision Braun makes off the field as well.
Yeah, no, I do. I think that this is going to be a huge year, and now we get the injury report, Roman, and I know we were chatting about this a little bit on text. Miller Moss is officially listed as questionable on the first injury report, but they did also make the announcements that both Isaac Brown and Keywan Brown will miss the
Yeah.
game. They are both ruled out, so they are not there. Me and Haven talked about it. Like, does this, this feels like you may not be able to have Miller Moss in there just because you might need Deuce's legs now that your two explosive running backs are gone. You might need to do a little bit something more at the quarterback position. What do you think about that?
I think it's too little, too late. What I think, I think obviously we've seen flashes in the 3 years now of him being creative with the quarterback spot when he's had to. Right? Didn't Plummer went wildcat a couple times? Didn't he? I want to say
As slow as he was, yes, they ran him on some
they
interesting
put him
little
out wide
quarter,
and did some direct
quarterback
snap
reads
stuff
and
and
some
try to make it
yeah.
seem like he was going to be whatever. You bring Connolly in for that short yardage stuff as well. I guess you didn't really get all that creative with Tyler because you had the thrower there, but you got creative in your pass attack. You got to creative with your downfield shots and your actually your plays that required the quarterback's arm and stuff. So this year you've seen some moments. You saw Duke. I'm sorry,
Deuce.
Deuce in that EKU game or whichever one, Bowling Green, whichever game it was. You saw him beat his man out to the edge on the one run. You saw him
Yeah,
come in the
and you saw
Miami
him pick
game.
up the short yardage against Miami. Yeah.
You saw him pick up the short yardage against Miami. He had another play, which he came in. I can't remember. Was it BC or Virginia Tech or somewhere he came in? He didn't get the short yard run. I thought he faked the pitch well and then just didn't make a good cut after that, let the defender get a hand on him and then lost all his momentum.
Yeah,
But
that was
overall, I
Virginia Tech.
still feel like he made a good decision in that moment, even though just you're not always fully prepared to make that decision, even though if you don't, even knowing
Because
that's
you
what
never
you're going
get
to do.
time on the field, Roman.
Exactly.
If you never
You
play,
can't read the defender's lunge to you because you don't ever get a chance to really have a defender lunge at you because your damn coach won't play you. But I think you've seen him have the ability to get creative in that spot. You saw direct snaps as well. Look at the direct snaps we saw against us this year, where you can't tell where the ball is going. Virginia, Chandler standing shoulder to shoulder with add that to your playbook, Brom. There's all kinds of different things you can do now and get creative if you had your quarterback. When you saw him, like, wait a minute, there's moments where I can't rely on him every single time. There's a series in which he's going to make a mistake. Like, well, let's make it to where all the weight isn't on his shoulders. And I get the run game and the offensive line negated your ability to do that as much as you wanted to in the beginning of the season. But then the offensive line shifted. Then you started getting consistent play from Keywan Brown, from Isaac Brown before the consistent play from Keywan started.
yeah.
And you still never went back to that stuff with like you'd had in that first quarter and a half against Miami. And I just don't understand that. You knew what Miller was at that point. You knew you've already had it happen. It costed you against Virginia. Throws in every game. We should have had a pick against Miami. Like there's been throws in each and every game now. That's just I felt like why not get creative? But I get playoff hopes on the line. You're in a position now where you can do something special because what the ACC is looking like it may do, and then it started to really do what you thought it may do, and you didn't
Fell apart.
you didn't consistently give yourself your team the best chance to win because you kept him out there and with the weight on his shoulders, and that was too much for him.
It does suck, fellas, because it just felt like, that's why I said, when I listen to Mike Rutherford and I listen to Steve Rummage and I listen to some of these guys who really love football and they were talking about how even when Louisville was still 6-1, 7-1, how they were just so nervous for these games. And I told you all, it's like it really never made me nervous because I knew at some point that Miller was going to cost us a game, whether it was going to be at SMU, whether it was going to be a game before that. At some point, when you have a quarterback that is as limited as he is, and Louisville's had so consistently made errors, dudes throwing interceptions every game, we're fumbling at some point that luck is going to run out. And unfortunately, it has bit Louisville in the butt the last 2 weeks. So it's like it didn't make me nervous. It's unfortunate because I don't know if you all agree with this, but it felt like Louisville could have prevented this from happening if they were a little bit more, if they would have prepared some of these other guys. There's a possibility that it didn't have to turn out like this, in my personal opinion. Like Don't know if you agree with that. Maybe you all think that Miller was just the best option, and you think that Brown just put Louisville in the best position to win. I don't necessarily agree with that. I didn't
No.
subscribe to that year one, and I don't subscribe to it in year three either.
Once the offensive line shifted its play and improved with the way
Yeah,
that the defense is played and knowing you can kind of rely on your defense a bit, you should have started getting deep in the Braun playbook, started getting as creative as possible. We should have been the trickiest trick play team in college football when you saw that Miller. I mean, but I'm
just
accounting
run
the
the fucking
injuries.
ball.
I'm accounting the injuries, though. I'm accounting that you only had Isaac when he was doing his thing. You only had Keywan when he was doing his thing. So you couldn't really abuse it. Granted, Keywan had 14 carries in the Cal game, right? And didn't get any more in the second half. Like, what's that about? There's had its moments where you could have ran the ball more within those games, but I still think not having that true 1-2 punch like you truly want, even though Keywan was healthy for a couple of the Isaac games, I don't think he was 100%. I feel like they've all three been banged up all year long. I feel
yeah,
like when you saw Miller show those flashes early on and you saw you get your best win when it didn't rely on him the most, you're having plays that get your receivers open in short yardage situations after the catch and not just slants, not trying to run screens, not doing the basic short passing stuff. You started getting creative short passing stuff with that extra
yeah.
blocker. The delayed tight end stuff started. Like the Miami game was perfect, and he didn't go back into that, Raashaan.
No.
He knew this was possible. I mean, you said you weren't nervous because you knew. I knew before we played a game. No one liked it. They were like, you got to trust Jeff more, Roman. Look what he did with Tyler. Look what he did with Jack.
Yeah.
Look what Miller did against LSU. And I'm like, yeah, Miller's gonna win us some games. He's going to lose us some games too.
Yes.
He's going to throw them things in critical moments. And it hasn't been
Yeah.
things in critical moments, other than Virginia. But it's been getting sacked when he doesn't need to
I
get
was gonna
sacked.
say, like, to me,
It's been other stuff.
Well, that's
It's
what I was gonna say. Like,
missing
he
guys are
doesn't even.
wide open.
He
Making
doesn't
bad
carry himself
reads.
with the confidence that he did earlier in the year. Like, dude is going out there and playing quarterback with zero confidence. He's bailing on passes early. He's not standing strong in the pocket. When he does run, it looks like he's running not to get hurt and trying to not get hit.
We're running on first down, not getting anything. Throwing on second down, he's missing his man, and then it's a penalty on third down. Now it's 3rd and 20, and we throw a 4-yard in route to somebody. So it's not always even been his fault in terms of like the 3 and outs and stuff because of penalties.
But I just don't think
as much as him in those moments.
If you don't have a confident quarterback, Roman, and you don't have a guy who's commanding the offense and being the leader, it doesn't feel like Miller Moss is the leader of the Louisville offense. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
but he can't be. That's the problem. He can't be because it's obvious to everybody in America that we're coaching around his limitations. And anytime you have to coach around your quarterback's limitations, it just zaps all confidence from everybody on offense.
He doesn't even feel like a confident dude when he comes into the now. Granted, I understand it's after a loss, but the last 2 times he's coming into his media availability, fellas, when I've been in there, like, dude is just, well, we just have this stuff, and then you hear him talking about the culture.
We got to get better
like,
at this. We got to
This
get
is
better.
flashbacks from USC for him.
Got to get better.
This is flashbacks from USC.
You just lost your opportunity at a college football playoff appearance because you got to get better.
He just does not show. He does not feel like a leader to me. Like, he's smart. I think he could possibly be a coach down the road, maybe. But like, he just does not carry himself like. I don't believe that he feels like he's going to win games. Like, even at the beginning of games, it doesn't feel like he believes he's going to win.
So here's the problem, right? Nobody on that team, coaching staff and all, thinks that with 3 minutes to go in the game,
you got
80 yards to go. Nobody thinks Miller Moss is the guy to do that.
Miller doesn't even think Miller's the guy to do that, though. Like, I need Miller Moss to believe he can do it.
Miller's mad he's in the situation.
Like,
he knows he can't do it.
When he's crying at the end of the Miami game because he wins, I don't want to see you crying after a win. Like, dude, you're supposed to be like, yeah, that's what I do. You know what I mean?
That's not what he does. That's the thing. Like, that's not what he does.
And how, if you're Jeff Brom, how do you not know that this is who this dude is before you get here? How much research, how much film did you watch? How much did you vet this guy, or did you just give
He
him the
watched the
job?
Holiday Bowl when he lit us up for 7
That's
touchdowns,
what I'm saying. That's what
and
it
that
feels
was
like.
enough.
That's
Yep.
what it feels like, Haven. I don't feel like he did any homework on this hire. It feels like the same job that the background that what's his name the AD did before he hired Kenny Payne. I don't feel like you did any research or had any conversations with Kenny Payne. I feel like you just gave him the job because everybody said he was the dude that should get the job. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like
I
that's what Jeff
mean,
Brom did with Miller
I
Moss.
mean, in Jeff's
Did
defense,
you
Jeff
do
thought
any research on
I
Miller
could
Moss?
change him. Jeff thought I could change him. I could
I
change
can
him.
work with this.
Lane
You can't,
Kiffin can't do it, but I can because I'm
Haven, you can't
motherfucking
turn a
Jeff
hoe into
Brom.
a housewife.
But more importantly, what are these guys going to do against SMU?
I was gonna ask, well, yeah, what do you all want to see? That'd be the last thing there, because I know we've been rolling for a minute. What do you all want to see?
So we're watching it.
SMU. I mean, I guess we have to.
I'm just kidding. I'll be watching it, but
I guess we have to.
something different, Raashaan. I hate to give you the vague, lame, basic answer, but something different, especially if the defense is still playing with that same intensity. Because I'm not going to sit here and say that I expect. Okay, I mean, like I expect it. I'm not predicting every player to be playing with 100% intensity like we've seen up until now. You know,
Yeah.
Those players know what it is. They know what they're playing for now. They know that it's a bowl game only, and it's not going to be one and a miable one. And if you're a certain level type of player, you're not playing again. We know there's probably a couple guys who probably aren't playing again anyway, and that's what's tough because Jeff, you put them in this spot. You can only blame yourself. With that being said, I want to see some young guys get a couple of snaps. You know, I want to see some creative stuff. The end around took Lacey back to the receiver, and then back to Miller to go back to Lacey on the pass. I loved it. Let me see it every series. Let me see something like that every series. Not literally, but like, get a direct snap.
Unfortunately, against Clemson, Louisville's only real explosive plays came off trick plays. Really and truthfully. Like when they got explosive passing plays, yeah, I mean that's when their big plays happen, is when we ran trick plays. We couldn't just line up and just run good offense and get any chunk yardage at all against Clemson.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
so Haven, what do you want to see?
Honestly, I don't know, man. That with Keywan out, because he was literally like most of your offense. He was like the most steadiest thing you had on offense. And without Keywan, I don't think Duke has it. I mean, I don't think he's just not that dude. Honestly, I want to see a change of quarterback. I want to see them using Miller Moss as being questionable as a way to kind of pull him in at halftime and put somebody else in and play for the now. Just play for the future.
That's what I think.
Like I said before, if you lose the game, it doesn't matter. Like if you win the game, if you lose the game, it doesn't matter. All that matters is that you beat UK.
But Jeff, here's the thing though. Jeff knows he has the most wins in the ACC since he's joined, and he doesn't want to let that up. So he's gonna go. He's gonna go out there and try to win this game with everything he's got. That to me thinks Miller is gonna definitely be out there until he absolutely can't be.
Well, this is the thing. If Miller is if he's actually hurt, because I heard you say that you're gonna use that as an excuse, Haven. So you're trying to say Miller's not hurt, but they're just putting him on the report. But
his pride's hurt.
Good. Yes. But like I will say this, if Miller truly is questionable and he's dealing with whatever he's dealing with from the last game, that means that either Allen or Deuce Adams has been taking snaps, the first team snaps. So if it is Deuce Adams, then maybe Brom is getting a game plan together based around Duke's strengths and weaknesses. And trying to accentuate what he does and what he likes to do. So maybe this is an opportunity for Brom to do some different things.
We've all seen this story, Raashaan. We've seen it. The bad quarterback, the season that doesn't really matter. You bring in the electric backup, and all of a sudden he looks better than the starter did all year long. It's happening at Pitt right now.
Yeah.
But Pitt did that in the middle of the year against us. It's when Pitt put
Yeah.
the freshman in. Was
It
like,
took
let's
one
ride.
loss. It took Eli Holstein to screw up one game, and he was sitting on the bench. And we got Miller Moss out here looking like Keystone Cops week after week, and just letting him just languish out there. But I mean, for me, that's going to be what I'm interested in. I'm interested in two things, or three things actually. I'm interested in, let's see Deuce Adams go out there and just run out with the first team offense. That would get me super excited. Number two, I'm going to be interested to see what Duke Watson can do at running back with those other guys down. Now it's all on Duke to see what he can do. And three, every time Louisville goes into the state of Texas during a regular season game, they get their asses kicked in the state of Texas. We never win in the state of Texas. I would love to end that trend. And I think that SMU, they do not have an explosive offense. Miami's defense did a great job against them. They just kept screwing up and kept making mistakes and allowed SMU in there. So I think Louisville's defense can go out there and do a good job. But the question is, can they put up enough points to win? So I mean, it's still some interesting things, especially if we get to see Deuce Adams go out there and
Just beat UK.
that Haven's on that just beat UK, Roman. That's all he wants to talk
I know
about.
he is. It's all he's worried about.
That's all that's left.
I
Beat
agree, though.
UK.
You
That is
can't
the only
lose
thing you
Kentucky.
have technically to achieve, in my opinion. That's worth
You
something the
cannot lose
fans
to
care
Kentucky,
about.
bro.
But you could also achieve a lot of fans' excitement, getting that excitement back if you go out there, do the creative things we know you're capable of doing, make the team exciting in their offensive play like you have lacked all year long.
But Roman, here's a problem with that, right? If you roll out Deuce Adams and he just balls out of control, throws for 350 yards and 3 touchdowns and a pick, and Louisville wins, everybody's gonna question Jeff Brown from here on out by why do you put him in earlier in the season when it was obvious Miller Moss couldn't do it?
Hey, Roman, what
And
would you
we
do if Deuce comes
If
out
Deuce
there,
is,
throws for 250 and runs for like 100?
and like 3 incompletions.
Yeah.
Ah,
people will
that
be
would
mad at Jeff.
that
I
would
mean,
make
like,
it worse. That would make it worse if you
he'll make it a lot worse.
and we go out there and beat them by 21 like that. Yeah, that
Just beat him. Oh gosh, like this dude
It'll
looks
be a
like
lot
young Michael
worse.
Vick out there. You know what I mean? Like,
I would
oh,
tell Jeff, I'd say, Josh, whatever number you go get that contract and put it in the paper shredder.
it's so funny because they were talking so much about we got to hurry up and re-sign Jeff because Penn State's knocking, Florida State's knocking, all these teams, Florida's knocking, and these two losses we ain't heard nothing about. I feels like Jeff's agent has lost all his negotiating power. Now it's like, hey, do you still want to give us a new contract? Josh Hurd's like, look here, bruh. I'll call you. Like, I'll get back with you.
Let me see
Like,
what we can do.
yeah. Yeah. One more win, and it feels like Jeff could have got a new huge extension, and he loses to California. Like that California loss just changed everything, man.
And the listeners, don't get me wrong. I believe he still deserves an extension, but if you're about to make him a top 3 paid quarterback, I don't know about that now.
Yeah. Oh, you better believe. Hey, those numbers have changed, brother. Like, I feels like we were about to get Jeff into that 8-9 million per. Now it might be like 7.5. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like he probably lost that. Each one of them losses probably cost him $1 million per season. Honestly.
Hey, you know what? You can add it back with incentives.
Yeah,
That's what I think. Give it back. Yeah, give it back to him with incentives.
absolutely.
Speaking of which, big up to Virginia Tech for hiring James Franklin.
Big hire for the ACC,
That's
James
huge.
Franklin. Yeah, that's big. I'm glad Louisville got their Virginia Tech this year, and now we ain't got to see him again for another 12 years because I think Franklin that's perfect. That's a perfect landing spot for him. So we don't have to deal with him for at least a few years. So, good to go. But fellas, thank you so much. I know we've been going. Thanks to everybody who's been watching us and watching online. I know the football season has definitely turned for the worse, but hey, we only get to do this a couple more times. We got 2 more That Boy Good Player of the Week trophies to give out over these last 2 games. So super excited. For those upcoming. Roman Kelly, I appreciate you. I know you've been running around, so thank you for joining us.
Of course.
And hopping on there. Haven, Appreciate you as always. I do want to give a shout out to Feet First Orthotics. They are an exciting new partner of ours. I want to let everybody know. Let me go ahead and give them a shout out. That we've been having conversations with Chris Cannon, the owner over there. Chris has been awesome in all the things that he's been doing. We're going to start doing a lot of different things with him. He did want us to let everybody know Feet First Store in Jeffersonville is helping Kentuckiana move better, feel better every day. If you're dealing with plantar fasciitis, knee pain, back pain, or you spend all day on your feet at work, they have you covered. Their personally fitted orthotic system is designed to improve balance, alignment, and overall comfort. Athletes can see better stability and performance, and everyday workers get the relief that they need to keep going. Schedule your appointment by calling 812-725-0208 or visit feetfirststore.com to book online. You can find the Feet First Store at 2781 Jefferson Center Way in Jeffersonville, Indiana. So definitely make sure you check them out. Tell them that you heard about them on Wake Up 502 or Wake Up 502 After Dark. And like we like to end every show, without struggle.
Hey, there is no progress.